Hey, this is Mr. H. I want to do a quick video on how to complete the square. I'm going to use some delta math questions, and I'm just going to go through and just show you how you would do them. I'm going to do them on my iPad, and then I'm going to answer them. So what we have here, you can see the completing the square. We're trying to come up with the constant that will make this complete. So let me go to my iPad and kind of write this down. So it's going to be x squared plus 3x minus 17 equals 0. So all we're going to do is, let me pull up my iPad. So you can see I wrote down the quadratic equation. So all you're going to do is you're going to take the middle term and you're going to divide it by 2, and then you're going to square it. So this is going to be 9/4. So this is the constant that we would add in order to make this quadratic a perfect square. Of course, we would move the 17 over here, but so our resulting perfect, it would be x squared 3x plus 9/4. And basically we can write this as this. This is the form that we're trying to get to. We want to make it into a perfect square. And so we have to add 9/4 in order to do that. So if I go back to, if I go back here and I put 9/4, that should be the correct answer. All right, let's do another one. Okay, let me clear my iPad. Clear. All right, so this one, we have x squared plus 14x minus 1 equals 0. So let me jump to my iPad now. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 1 to both sides. So this is going to be x squared plus 14x equals a positive 1. Now, again, I'm going to take this middle term and I need to split it in half or divide it by 2, and then I'm going to square it. So this is going to be 14 divided by 2 is 7, and then I'm going to square the 7. So the number that I need to add in order to make a perfect square trinomial is a plus 49. So I would come here and I would put 49. So boom, and that would be the answer. I'll do one more. This one, we have 15. So what you're going to do is you're going to take 15. I'm going to use my little annotation thing. I'm going to take 15. I'm going to divide it in half. I'm going to leave it as a fraction, and then you would square it. So the number that you're going to add is going to be 225/4. So that would be our answer. Let me clear this, clear my drawings, and get rid of this, and then go here. It'll be 225 divided by 4. All right, so let me go, and now I want to look at one of the other questions. All right, so completing the square. So now what we're going to do is we're going to try to get it into a format. So let me show you how you would do these. Kind of the same thing. Negative 5x squared plus 100x equals 1400. All right, so let me jump to the iPad. First thing you need to do, this leading coefficient has to be a positive 1. So you've got to divide everything by a negative 5. So this is going to be 1x squared. This will be a negative 20x. And this will be, what is that? It'll be a negative, that'll be 280, I believe. Now, so what we were doing before is we were taking the middle term and we were dividing it by 2 and then squaring it. So if we take a negative 20 divided by 2 is going to be a negative 10. When we square a negative 10, it's going to be a positive 100. So here's what we're doing. It's going to be 1x squared. We're going to have a negative 10. Let me back up. So we're going to have 1x squared. We're going to have minus 20x. We're going to add 100 to this. And because we added 100 to this, we also have to add 100 to this side. Now, we're going to put this, we're going to factor this, is going to be x minus 10 squared. And the reason we know it's a minus 10 is we divided the middle term by 2. And that's going to be equal to a negative 180. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take, well, something is not right here. Let's see. What happened? That was 400, 1400. When I divide everything by -5, that'll be 2, that'll be 10, 40, that'll be 8. Yeah, so that'll be a -180. That is true. Oh, so basically what we have here is going to be x minus 10. And then over here is going to be a -180. But I don't know why it would be, let me see if that's right. Yeah, it was right. Now that would have been an imaginary number, but that's all we're doing. Okay, so let's do another one. That one was a little unexpected. So let me clear this. All right, so same thing. We have, let me write this down. So this is a -3x squared plus 49x equals a -5x plus 183. Now, we're going to bring the x's over to the left-hand side and leave the constant on the right-hand side. So we're going to have a -3x squared. So we're going to have 49x plus 5x equals 183. I just added 5x to both sides. So what we're going to have is -3x squared. This is going to be a positive 54x, and this will be a -183. Remember, the leading coefficient, oops, I'm not showing this. The leading coefficient has to be a positive 1. So I'm going to divide every term by -3. And this is going to be 1x squared. This is going to be, what is that? 18, a -18x. And then over here is going to be 61, a -61. Remember, we got to take this term. We're going to divide it by 2. So it's going to be a -9. And then we square it to get the perfect, the constant that we need. So it's going to be 81. So what we're going to wind up with is we're going to add 81 to both sides. So we're going to have, and then we're going to make this into a perfect square. So it's going to x minus 9 squared equals, and this would be 20, a positive 20. So now we would go here and we're going to say x minus 9, and then that's equal to, I said, a positive 20. Let's see if that's right. I hope my math, arithmetic is good. It was. Okay. Now, let me do one more. I'm going to do a completing the square. We're going to actually go all the way through and solve for x on this one. So let me clear my iPad real quick. Now, and let me write the equation that we're going to be using. X squared plus 21 equals 10x. So let me jump on my iPad. First thing, I need to get the x over here. So I'm going to subtract 10x from this side. Subtract 10x from this side. So what we're going to have is x squared minus 10x plus 21 equals 0. And then I'm going to move the 21 to the other side because I want the constant over there. So what we're going to have is x squared minus 10x equals a -21. Now, what we've been doing before, we're going to take the middle term and we're going to divide it by 2. And then we square it. So that's going to be 25. So I need to add 25 to both sides. And so this is going to factor to x minus a -5 squared equals a positive 4. Now, to finish this, we're going to take the square root of both sides. And this is going to be x minus 5. Now, that's why we want to get a perfect square. Because once we get a perfect square, we can take the square root. And this is going to be plus or minus 2. And so our final answer is just going to be 5 plus or minus 2. I add 5 to both sides. And I get this. So I have two zeros or two solutions. So one of them is going to be 7 and one of them is going to be 3, because 5 plus 2 is 7 and 5 minus 2 is 3. So these are my two solutions. So I would say for this one, I would say 7 and 3. And then I would submit it. All right, so now let's do another one. So let me clear this. And it's going to be x squared plus 4x equals 5. Jump to my iPad. All right, so here, all we have to do is we need to find the constant to add to make this a perfect square. So we're going to take 4 divided by 2. That's 2, and then we square it. So that's 4. So we're going to add 4 to both sides. And so this is going to be, it's going to be just this. This is going to be, I'll rewrite it, 4x plus 4 equals 9. Then we just factor it. This will be x plus 2 squared equals 9. And then we can take the square root of both sides. So we're going to have x plus 2 equals plus or minus 3. And then x equals a negative 2 plus or minus 3. So we have two answers. One would be a positive 1, and one would be a negative 5. Those are our two answers. Now, one more thing, just to check this, you could do insolve on the original equation, x squared plus 4x equals 5, comma, x, and you should get 1. And then if you change the starting point, you should get a negative 5 if you want to check it. All right, so let me go in here, and my two answers are 1, and my other answer is a negative 5. Let's make sure these are good. Let me submit. And that's correct. All right, so I'm going to wrap this up. Actually, let's do the completing the square rational. This will be the last one. Sorry, the video is a little longer than I intended, but hopefully it is helpful. So the equation is x squared minus 20x plus 93 equals 0. So let me jump to my iPad and let's do the completing square. All right, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move the 93 over to this side. So we're going to have x squared minus 20. That should be an x. 20x equals a negative 93. Now I'm going to take the middle term. I'm going to divide it by 2, be negative 10, and then I'm going to square it. That'll be 100. So I'm going to add 100 to both sides. Now I can factor this. So this is going to be x minus 10 squared equals positive 7. And then I just take the square root of both sides. So this is going to be x minus 10 equals plus or minus the square root of 7. And then I have x equals positive 10 plus or minus the square root of 7. That will be my final answer. Okay, so if I go over to this, I'm going to say 10, positive 10. You got to use this plus or minus, and then it's going to be the square root of 7. I hope I did all the work right. That is correct. And they kind of go through and also show you what you need to do if you look at the answers. All right, so I'm going to end the video and post it.